You start with a dream and share it with some friends. The idea deepens and grows. The dream takes shape, it has form and substance. A community soon arose. A listening room, the hearing room, a place to find a home to play. A listening room, the hearing room, express yourself and have your say. The walls are thin, sirens blare, the tables sit near folding chairs, the stage is set with paint and glue, and love went into every screw. The light shine bright on every star, they come to play from near and far. The light shine bright on every star, they come to play from near and far. A listening room, the hearing room, a place to find a home to play. A listening room, the hearing room, express yourself and have your say. Hearing room, a listening room. You're welcome here, so have no fear. The hearing room, the hearing room. Come in, my friend, where art can bloom.
And welcome to the Woodshed podcast. I'm Aaron Tornberg, and I'm here at the hearing room, undercover, because we are all quarantined, sort of. So I'm here with Bob Kramer today,
Colorado Bob.
and we are 6 feet apart approximately, and not touching. So we're going to go ahead with the podcast. We at the hearing room, we're trying to decide whether we're going to open up again in a month or how long this is all going to take. But for right now, we are closed officially, except for the podcasts, and we will be open as soon as possible. So we're looking into possible ways for us to reach out and communicate with everybody. So if you're interested in communicating with us to start, we still have email, we still have a website, and you can contact us through either method. And so if you have ideas on how to get through this, that would be great. And you can still become a member of the hearing room if you have the ability to support us that way.
I did that.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Colorado Bob is now a member. And the membership is $100. So if you want to take part in that, you get $5 off all events, and some events are $5. So if you do the math, they're free. Some events still cost, but you do get the $5 off, and you get advance notice of the bigger shows where we actually sell out, because we are only a 50-seat venue. So we have lots of stuff still in the works, and as soon as this whole mishegoss is over, we will just keep plowing along. So I also want to thank the Greenville Junction Shop. They are in Greenville, New Hampshire, and you can order online from them at Facebook Marketplace. It's Greenville Junction, JUNKTION, Greenville Junction Shoppy. The Greenville Junction Shop is an upcycling shop. They sell upcycled items like that they found at the side of the road or around at garage sales and estate sales and all that. And they also help you with estate and garage cleanout. So you can find out more about them. If you go to Facebook Marketplace, you can see the listings. And it's Greenville Junction, JUNKTION, SHOPPE, Shoppy. They should have a store open probably sometime late spring, early summer, which will be in Greenville, New Hampshire, and it'll be a showroom of all kinds of stuff you can go pick up. And it's all used, but it's all in good shape, and you should go check it out when they open. But in the meantime, check them out on Facebook. So, I'm here today with Colorado Bob. So, Bob, where you from?
I'm from Colorado.
Oh, really? Because that's usually my first question is where you from. So that's easy with you. You are from Colorado. Which part of Colorado?
I grew up just outside of Denver in Cherry Creek, which was kind of an interesting community. I will say that there was a swimming pool 4 blocks from my house that I could not swim at because I was Jewish.
Oh, wow.
And, of course, I was a caddy on the anti-Semitic golf course, and I couldn't...
Oh, they let you be caddy?
Well, they didn't know.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't apply for the job and put, well, what religion are you? So it was kind of weird as a kid. I delivered newspapers. There was a community across from where we lived that was anti-Semitic. It was so strange. But, it never registered to me that, should I be doing this? Because I was a kid. So I delivered papers and went up, knocked on the doors to collect, the fees in those days.
Right.
You had to do that. But when I think back on it, it's kind of a strange thing where I grew up.
Yeah, well, I grew up in Kansas, so I'm not too far from Colorado. It's a little different, but we had our share of interesting experiences during that time. I grew up in the 80s, so it was a little different. Your time was a little worse, I imagine.
I'm still trying to grow up.
Yeah, well, I didn't say matured. I said grew up. Anyway, the Colorado experience, you did a lot of outdoorsy stuff, or no?
Well, Denver was an interesting place because it's halfway between California and Chicago. So we weren't part of a music scene. I remember my sister had a folk group called What For, which I thought was kind of cute. So she was my influence. And when I was like 11 or 12, she bought me a guitar, a Stella.
Yeah.
And so she was listening to all this acoustic music. So I kind of missed the whole rock and roll invasion because I was listening to the Highwaymen and the Limelighters and Bob Gibson and all these acoustic players. And that was, very influential on me. I was also somehow listening to jazz and blues. And so when rock and roll hit, when the Beatles hit,
right.
I wasn't there. I picked up on that stuff much later on. But I remember I had all these albums. I actually played trumpet in high school and wore braces. It was terrible. So all these albums had people playing something called a Martin. So I showed my parents. I said, can I trade my trumpet in for one of these Martins? I think I need a Martin. So
we all need a Martin. A Martin and a Taylor.
Right. So my dad said, okay. So we went down and he bought me a D18. And I remember it was $365.
Which was a lot.
Which was a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it all happened. I had a Peter Paul Mary kind of group in high school.
3 people?
Yeah, there were 3 of us.
And a girl.
And a girl that, of course, I was dating. She was part of the Reformed Temple.
Oh, yeah.
Which was a whole other thing. So that was kind of my influence. So, I learned how to finger pick. I didn't even know what a flat pick was. So, I'm very thankful that I have that kind of background. And because I was listening to a lot of the old blues guys from the 50s and 40s, finger picking was something I'm so happy that I learned how to do at an early age.
Yeah, I actually had more of I liked rock and roll growing up, but I actually liked heavy metal growing up too.
Oh, that's interesting.
But before then, when I was very young, my parents' record collection was what I knew. And so they had Bookends by Simon and Garfunkel. They had, my dad, for some reason, even though he claims he never really liked them, he had like every Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass album. And there were quite a lot. And then we had, a few other folky kinds of things, although my mom had an Elton John. So I had similar experience in that, I grew up with the Simon and Garfunkel stuff, the Peter, Paul, and Mary stuff, and that influence. But it was summer camp and the synagogue that got me into more acoustic stuff.
Interesting.
That's what everybody there was doing.
Right.
So
no, my father, they didn't listen to a lot of music. They had they listened to stuff like Nuts, Hot Nuts, Get It From the Peanut Man. I know they they didn't listen to anything. So my sister, thankfully, and I remember I bought, got turned on to Dylan at that time, and he went electric, which I thought was fine. My first rock and roll record was Cream, Disraeli Gears.
That's great.
But I missed all the other stuff,
But it's such a good album.
Oh,
I mean, if you're going to pick one,
it just
that's
happened.
a good one.
Why I remember that, I don't know.
And the rainbow has a beard.
So then, of course, like everybody else, I loved as much stuff as I could get my hands on.
Right. And so you grew up, what did your parents do for a living?
My father, I was born in Chicago, 3 months old. They moved to Denver because my father got the territory to sell chrome dinette sets.
Chrome?
Yeah. I don't know if people remember those. They had these laminated kind of tops, and they had chrome legs, and the chairs were chrome. So he got the Denver territory. So that's how we ended up in Colorado. And my mom was a stay at home, but volunteer at the local hospital, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to learn how to ski. My parents said, "There's the JCC bus. You get on the bus. It takes you to the ski slopes." So my parents were not outdoorsy at all. Yeah. So anything I did outdoors, I had to do on my own.
And your sister, you had a good relationship with her back then? Are you close in age? Or?
I still do. She's a little older. She's 4 years older. I'd have to really have a discussion with her how she got involved with folk music. It's not like she was a great singer or a great player or anything. Mm-hmm. I think it was just her friends, probably, were her influence and got her involved.
Now, were you unique in that you liked acoustic music back then, or was that? I mean, was it the great folk revival thing around then?
Oh no.
So you were
This
not
is for that, yeah. Most of my friends, we all discovered it about the same time because again, Denver is kind of like there's no scene at that time because California had all that stuff going on, and then Chicago had all the old players from the South moving to Chicago, so the blues revival was happening in the late 50s, early 60s, and Denver just kind of was there.
Right.
Some country music. As I got older, there was a restaurant outside of Boulder, which is just outside of Denver, at the foothills. And the fun part about that was you never knew what band was going to pop in. So that was a treat because that's where I started getting involved with bluegrass and that kind of music because these players would come in, and it was a music I was not familiar with. And it was great. They would just pop in and play and then go home. Yeah, it was an interesting musical time for me.
Yeah, and sounds very social too. So it was like you're connecting with musicians and.
Yeah, I remember being in my friend's house around the corner, and Dylan, just this new Dylan album. It was great. We because again, Denver was kind of a closed musical scene because of our location.
Right. And, it's interesting because when you get into folk music, I think you become passionate about not going electric. And it seems to me you might be a little along those lines given what you're playing there, because it looks like you've got a resonator guitar, which is not really electric but has the same kind of effect in a way.
Well, again...
and that's bluesy, I guess, was that?
Yeah. I'm very much influenced by the 40s and 50s. I love that stuff. Mm-hmm. So before electric instruments, if you were going to play a string instrument, it had to be loud enough to play with the instruments of that time, which were brass.
Right.
So mandolins could do it, banjos could do it, and resonator guitars could also play. So the Dobria brothers, that later became Dobro,
right,
made wooden resonators, which the country people picked up on, and National made the steel guitars, which the blues and the jazz people picked up on.
And that's steel what you're playing there, right?
This is steel National Delphi.
National.
Yeah. So...
How old is that?
Oh, they made these for about 12 years. This is a 2002.
Oh, okay.
I will just tell you I don't know, this is kind of a side thing. I don't have any vintage instruments. I got rid of all my... I do not have my D18 anymore. I didn't want anything old. I don't want to take care of old instruments. So nothing that I own is very old. Mm-hmm. I like having instruments that I don't have to worry about.
Right.
That I can take out and
they're in tune mostly. And
who knows?
Stay in tune. And
yeah, this is a National they made for about 12 years. They still make it. It's under a different name now, I think NRP or something like that. But once you play a National, I mean, the tone and the feel of it.
Well, let's hear something. What do you want to play?
I'll do this is a Willie Dixon tune from 1960s. Little red rooster, too lazy to grow today. Little red rooster, too lazy to grow today. Sing the barnyard, woo, in every way. Sounds have been a gone, hounds begin to howl, woo. Thank you. So I love that kind of stuff.
And that's Willie Dixon?
Willie Dixon.
I've heard that done by a lot of people.
It's been done by, God, you name it, Rolling Stones, Grateful Dead. Howlin' Wolf, I believe, did the first recording. So this is what's called Delta style, and Delta style usually uses a harmonica or a slide. Piedmont style is usually finger-picking blues. Mm-hmm. So this is what you would call a Delta style. Yeah,
I like it. You know who my favorite of that is? Do you know any Mississippi John Hurt?
Oh, love Mississippi John Hurt.
Actually, his granddaughter just friended me on Facebook. It was weird.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know her. But I guess she is friends with about 30 or so musicians in this area. And,
well, I want to be part of that.
Well, I don't know. Her name's. I'll send you her info.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, I don't know. She's in charge of the Mississippi John Hurt Museum or Trust or whatever it is, and I think that's why she was reaching out to different musicians. But
I'd love to go to that.
Yeah, I think she's in Mississippi. I mean, so I'm not sure, but you know, I think she also just joined Facebook and started asking people to friend her.
And people are still trying to figure out how we played some of those songs.
Yeah, I mean, they're fantastic what he did.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you cover any of his?
You know, it's a funny thing. When you play out, unfortunately, the material you choose has to match wherever you're playing.
Yeah.
So I do have the Bob Kramer band for years, and the kind of places we play, no one wants to hear it.
Oh.
You know, occasionally I'll do something, Hesitation Blues or something, but you know, they want to hear songs that you know they can relate to. You know, I can still sneak in songs like Willin' and Friend of the Devil and you know those kind of acoustic things.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't play places except at my open mic or other open mics that you can do that kind of material. I wish there was.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, here I could.
Yeah, I would love to be able to play some of his stuff. I've looked online, and there are people who show you, you know, on YouTube how to play it, but it's not exactly right.
No, God, all those guys, even Robert Johnson, you know, people are still trying to figure out, or Charlie Patton, how they played.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of great blues. So is that like that's pretty much where you started your focus? Is like you started with folk, and then it sounds like you really went to blues a lot.
I did. The sound and the finger picking and the slide and the whole thing, the lyrics. Also too, you know, even the songs I write, I don't write songs with a lot of lyrics, you know, because I'm very influenced by the brevity of blues and kind of the repetitive nature. So when I play some of my songs, you'll even hear they're not lyric heavy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't do ballads. I don't write ballads or stories or that kind of thing. I'm really more into the emotion of a short story. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to play one you've written?
I will. So the story goes that when a sailor perishes at sea, the mermaids cry.
Okay.
And the colored glass that washes up on the shore are mermaid tears. So this is my song called Mermaid Tears.
All right. Let's hear it.
Thank you. So I just recorded it and actually have some ocean effects in it.
Oh, cool.
You know, you got to experiment.
Well, Mermaid Tears, you have to have an ocean.
Yeah, and see what works and what doesn't work. So
you record yourself, or do you go to...
No, I just released a new CD. I haven't released it to iTunes yet because I'm still deciding what songs to put on it. But no, I spent all last month recording up in with Tom Eaton up in Newburyport. So
Okay.
I experimented with a saxophone, which I love. There's pedal steel on it, and fiddles, and all kinds of stuff. So when I recorded Mermaid Tears with Tom, I said, let's try putting a little ocean in there. So I'm still kind of seeing if I like it.
I did the same thing, actually. I ended up putting some ocean with seagulls because I wrote a post-apocalyptic dystopian sea shanty.
Ooh.
So I did that for the Portsmouth, New Hampshire Maritime Folk Festival. They have a contest every year, which you should enter. It's fun. Nick Noble judged it for the last 2 years, and
okay.
He's involved with it. I think Chris Madden is going to continue that Portsmouth Maritime Festival, but
yeah, I will.
you could do your Mermaid Tears song.
That's right.
But the Mermaid Tears colored glass. What is colored glass coming from? Do you know?
Yes. Well, originally, colored glass came from sunken ships. Mm-hmm. So the cargo they were carrying, the bottles would break up, and because of the ocean effect, they would tumble on the ocean floor and get round and wash up on the shore. I mean, now there's so much junk in the ocean, but originally you could tell the age of certain ships by the colored glass, and even where the cargo may have come from. I mean, now there's so many shards and other things, but originally that was the whole idea. And there were people that would collect colored glass and make things out of it.
Yeah, the mermaids were probably drowned in oil and probably got caught in the soda can plastic thingy.
Yeah.
Whatever you call that.
Yeah.
So when you started playing, you were doing, sounds like, just with friends, or did you go to open mics, and was there any opportunity for that?
No, there weren't open mics at that time, or if they were, I was not aware of them. No, I had a friend around the corner who was also learning how to play, kind of at the same time I was, and then I was dating this girl who could sing. And just things kind of happened. We were all listening to we were discovering the same types of music. So it was not an issue of, well, what should we do? We're a three-piece. We should be doing Peter, Paul, and Mary,
right?
Or that kind of stuff.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So it was more of people in the neighborhood kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Did you play out at all?
We did a few times, but at that time, not a whole lot. Not till I got to be a little older.
So when did you start playing out then?
I started playing out more in my 20s. I've been very lucky musically over the years. Mm-hmm. I have always fallen into good people to play with, and I understand that one of the hardest things is to find someone you want to play with,
right?
Or can play with, depending upon abilities. And I've just always been lucky. So I moved back to Chicago, and I fell in with these people, and we all moved on a farm together outside of Chicago. And the next thing you know, we have a Chicago band. We're all electric, and one of the folks we called Doctor, he said, you gotta discover this new band. They're called the Grateful Dead. I'm turning you on to the Dead. And he turned me on to the Dead, and the Dead really changed my whole perspective. Because I listened to a lot of jazz, Charlie Parker and all those people. I've always been interested in the interaction of people you play with. So the Dead, that's the ultimate band of people interacting on the spot. So I have to say the Dead were a big influence in that regard. Also, too, Jerry Garcia was so much into Americana. He loved the history of music, and again, going back to blues, and because he was a banjo teacher.
Yeah, toward the end of his life, he actually
he was playing with Grisman
playing with David Grisman, and he had an album called The Pizza Tapes that I have, and a couple of others. That actually also excited me when I saw that Jerry Garcia was going back to folky stuff.
Absolutely. And the other person I loved was Little Feat, because of their rhythms, and Lil George's slide playing is just, he used a 5/8 Sears and Roebuck socket wrench to play slide.
Wow. That's not very comfortable.
Well, people use all kinds of. They use glass and they use steel. It's whatever sound or whatever you're comfortable with. I use brass. That's just what I use. It's not right or wrong.
I'm much more comfortable with machine-made tubes that you can put on your finger, as opposed to weird stuff you have to do as a makeshift.
And this one is flared at one end.
Yeah.
So my little fat fingers can.
So you don't get cut.
No, so I can actually put it on my finger.
I bought a glass one, and I'm afraid to use it because I always feel like it's going to break.
Oh, break! Got you.
Yeah. So I end up using the metal ones anyway. So do you? So you did a band in Chicago.
I did. We stayed together for a long time. We were at one point a 9-piece band like Chicago. We had a horn section, the whole thing, conga player, everything. And again, any musical experience one gets involved with is good. Even bad situations, you learn from it. For me, the goal has always been to just become a better player.
Right.
Yeah. So. It was fun for a long time. We actually did not have day jobs.
Oh yeah.
We actually made enough, and we all lived together on the farm. That we pooled our money, and it was quite an experience.
What did you do for a day job later, if anything?
I did all kinds of things.
Yeah.
I remember I needed a new amplifier, so I became an insect exterminator.
Oh yeah,
for 2 or 3 weeks, it got the money to buy a new Fender amplifier. So that was kind of crazy.
Yeah, did you teach lessons like a lot of people?
No, I sort of have off and on. I remember when my son was in the 5th grade, I had the 5th grade guitar class in my house.
Okay,
and I have to say it did not go over very well. I'm actually thinking more about it now, perhaps getting involved in teaching because I know more.
Right.
Whether it's using a slide or open tunings or finger picking or exposure to certain songs. So I'm kind of thinking about it.
How long did that first band last?
Years.
Yeah.
And I remember I think I was 27. And I said, I'm going back to college. See ya. And they all laughed at me. Yeah, you're going to go to college. So I did. I left the band and I got my BA and went on to grad school and got my master's in
what?
In art.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I'm actually a certified art teacher. My brother and sisters all went to college. So I kind of knew at some point that was probably going to happen for me too.
Which college?
I went to art school in Chicago.
Was it like the Art Institute?
No, it was the other one. It was Columbia College.
Oh, okay.
Which at that time was in one building. We didn't have a student center. It was the bar across the street. I mean, it was a crazy time. And then I went to Purdue for grad school.
Yeah, that's right near Chicago. That makes
Right.
sense.
And what they wanted was they wanted all the grad students to teach undergraduates. So I got a salary. I had no expenses from grad school. Zero.
Nice. Very nice.
It was a very unusual situation. Plus, I could, I had all the dates I wanted from undergraduates. And then I got my first job offer in Boston, and I've been there ever since.
What job?
I actually got hired at Beth Israel Hospital to be their staff photographer.
Oh, so you do photography as well?
Well, that's what I ended up doing. So I did surgeries and their PR and all their stuff, and then I went on my own, and I was a commercial photographer for years. I had a studio in Boston. I did advertising and architecture, stuff like that. And it was fun for 20 years. It was great.
And so you left and went to college. When you were in college, did you form a new band and keep playing?
Sort of. My only regret is I didn't play a whole lot for various reasons. I was in college and there was other stuff to do.
Right.
There were jam sessions that I certainly put together and learned from those. But no, I didn't have any groups in college at all. I kind of regret that.
So when you got back to Boston, did you start?
Later on, I got a little more serious.
Is the Bob Kramer band like something that's been around for a while?
It has. We've been together for 7 years.
Okay.
And we're basically an acoustic trio. Although occasionally we will play electric and pull in a piano player and a percussionist.
Acoustic trio of guitars, all guitars?
I'm the only guitar player.
Oh, okay.
There's a female. See, it all goes back to Pio Palmieri.
Right.
There's a female singer, a bass player, and me.
Oh, okay.
So I love playing with the female singer. I love the female voice. I love the harmonies that can come out of that. There's also some songs that just sound better to me anyway, with the female voice.
Right.
And of course, she's a bit better looking than the rest of us. So
yeah, certainly
that always helps.
To you. So you do. Who's in the Bob Kramer band? It's Cynthia
Keith and Al Foucault. So Cynthia lives in Plum Island, and Al's in Haverhill, and I'm in Beverly.
Okay.
Because
I was going to have them on the show too. I need to get in touch with them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I know I talked to Cynthia about it. So
yeah. So the person she lives with is a player, and then you can certainly talk to Al. Al has just started the last year learning how to play guitar. Trying to stretch himself out a little more. So
I must have met Al too, because I think they were together when I met them.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And of course, like everybody else, our gigs have all been canceled.
Yeah.
Our next gig, if it doesn't get canceled, will be the end of April at the Beachcomber, which is a wild scene. We will be electric, and if that comes through, it will be rowdy. We will just have a lot of fun. And
that's one where Rick Page plays a lot?
No. Rick Page is someone we know.
Yeah.
We've met Rick through open mics. We used to run an open mic in Raleigh.
Oh, yeah.
So it drew a lot of people from different areas. And Rick Page was certainly one of the regulars that would come by. Because I'm in Beverly, I don't get a lot of the folks from the Newburyport area.
Right.
It's a funny thing about open mics because they all have their own social scene.
Right.
So in Beverly, I get all the people from the North Shore, and unless people know me and they come to my open mics because I'm there. But they all have their own little social gatherings and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Rick's a very interesting person. I like Rick.
So I thought he played at Beachcomber or had mentioned it. That's where it happened.
No. Occasionally we will have people sit in with us.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is because we're all electric and the Beachcomber is a dance scene. I mean, because Cynthia lives there, everybody comes to see Cynthia. So it is wall to wall. It is so much fun. But we're rocking out. But we rock out on things that we like. So, we're doing Grateful Dead and Little Feat and, songs that we like. I've never been one just to do cover songs because that's what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do that.
Well, it sounds like fun.
It is fun.
And
you could come sit in with us.
I'll do that. Not right now.
No.
At some point.
It may make it. And the other thing I'll just mention about Cynthia, she's the one that started Plum Fest.
Oh, that's why she's related to Rick. I know Rick plays Plum Island stuff.
Right. So Cynthia and her boyfriend, they live together. I guess it's still a boyfriend. Started this Plum Fest 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And it's basically people playing on their porches. And I think last year she had 80 people playing on various porches.
Cool.
It was so busy that they had to have people park at the outside of Plum Island, and they hired a bus to bus people to Plum Island. So if you wanted to walk around or bring a bicycle, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But apparently it's pretty popular, and
all right.
So as long as you can find a porch to play on,
we'll get back there someday.
Yeah, who knows if it's even going to come off this year? We'll see.
Yeah, this year's iffy.
Yeah, everything.
Couldn't this have happened in the winter when we couldn't have all these festivals? So. Why don't you do one more before we take a short break, and then we'll come back right after that.
Okay, so this is I'll do one more song here on the slide guitar. So I'm from Colorado, right? So this is a song called the Freight Train Boogie, and there's a lot of Colorado in it.
All right.
This is a song about a freight train. Big black locomotive. Hear that train. down to the river, been up on the hill. And I still miss you. Been up on a mountain, been to see the sunrise. And I still miss you. I do. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Bob. I'm going to take a short break here while you switch guitars and get ready for the next half. So I wanted to come in and, again, reiterate that we are looking for members at the Hearing Room. It's $100 a year to be a member. You can become a member with online or bring your money in once we're open again. And we are going to be giving you, when you get your membership, a T-shirt, exclusive T-shirt for members of the Hearing Room. And we also have membership cards with made with recycled materials. And we also, obviously, we mentioned give you $5 off different events.
And I am a member.
And Bob is a member, so that's a ringing endorsement. And we also have a lot of stuff going on at the Hearing Room coming up. Whenever we open up again, I'll just run through the schedules so you know what it's like at the Hearing Room. When we open up again, it's Monday night podcast, which actually does still go on. It's Mondays and Thursdays. And then we have on Tuesdays, there's an open mic, 7 to 10. And on Wednesdays, there's Let's Have Words. That's a spoken word open mic. That's 7 to 10. Then Thursdays is the Singin' Jam, 7 to 10 on Thursday. And the Singin' Jam is jamming with about 20 to 30 people. And everybody plays together with words and chords up on the screen. And then we have Friday nights are for different kinds of jams. We usually do a theme. We have an acoustic jam the first Friday and a bluegrass jam the third Friday. And in between, we have different stuff. So you can go to hearingroom.net, find out more about that. And then we have on Saturdays different events. We have some live events of concerts. We also have Performance Lab, which is more electronic. And we do things like Drone Night on Saturdays, where everybody brings synthesizers and plays together, which sort of makes a huge sound. It's a little overwhelming the first time, perhaps, but it's actually strangely relaxing after a certain point. It's just so much sound relaxes you, believe it or not. And you have to really come and try it to understand. So drone night's a lot of fun, and we also have Sundays. There's a drum circle normally from 12:30 to 1:30, and the open mic I run runs 2 to 5. And then on Sunday nights, we've started doing various performances, and we had Guy Davis here. We had to cancel the Kennedys, but hopefully they'll be coming back once we are cleared to open the hearing room again. So that's what's going on at the hearing room. Check out hearingroom.net for more info. And then we want to thank the Greenville Junction Shoppy. So Greenville, JUNKTION They're an upcycling shop. They sell all kinds of items, household appliances, furniture, electronics, and other things. And you can check them out on Facebook Marketplace. They will have a shop opening up sometime late spring or summer. And there's also going to be other stuff going on with that business. And I guess if you go check out their website, you can find out more information. And they do estate and garage clean out as well if you need help with that. They'll help you do it and maybe even purchase some stuff from you in the process. So that is the gist of it. It's the Greenville Junction Shoppy. Check them out. They're very supportive of the hearing room and this podcast. So we're back with Colorado Bob of the Bob Kramer Band. And if you put 2 and 2 together, I imagine that means your name's Bob Kramer and not Colorado Bob. But so you should actually change it to the Colorado Bob Band.
Well, when I solo, I'm going under the name Colorado Bob.
Oh, only solo. Okay.
Yeah. But it's just kind of a fun thing.
Yeah. And
because Bob is so boring. But Colorado Bob is exciting.
Hey, you should be Colorado Bob Dylan. That has a nice ring to it. So we were talking about how you started playing with the Bob Kramer Band about 7 years ago. So how did that happen?
Well, again, I've been very lucky over the years to always have really good people to play with. Mm-hmm. So I've actually been playing with the bass player for a decade, and we've gone through various female singers. I love performing with a female singer. The quality of the voice and the interaction of voices and the whole thing. So we were with another female singer for several years, and it just kind of progressed. So I had Gay, I had Joy, all these people. And I remember I used to host one of the grog open mics, and Cynthia came in. I didn't know her. Al and I were doing the open mic together, and she came up and sang a song. And I remember after she finished, I walked up to her and said, "You want to be in a band?"
Well, so Al met her there?
No, well, she came in. So Al and I, we've been playing together for over 10 years. Mm-hmm. So we were actually doing the open mic together, kind of a joint thing. And Al looked at me, and I looked at him, and we walked over to her and said, "You want to be in a band?" Cool. And it turned out that she's an absolute sweetheart. I'm sure there are a lot of folks that know Cynthia, and it's been really sweet for 7 years. Yeah,
that's great.
And it's been fun too, because Cynthia's background is not my background at all. Mm-hmm. But she's been very open to learning more about the blues and certain kinds of music genres that I've been exposed to. Mm-hmm. Even Al, because Al is kind of a product of the 80s.
Right.
And, I don't think of myself as listening to music from a specific era. So even Al's been open to, I kind of like that stuff. So we do a lot of stuff that's kind of out of character for them, and it's been great learning for them, and it's part of our material. Mm-hmm. Like Hesitation Blues, 99-Year Blues, some of these older songs. I do 16 Tons by Tennessee Ernie Ford.
Yeah, I do that one. I love that song.
People love it.
It's a great song.
It's a wonderful song. So, all these songs that they are never been exposed to. So it's been, and plus, we'll even do some jazz things because I'm very much into jazz. Summertime and Route 66, and I actually, Al and I will actually do All Blues by Miles Davis, the two of us. Mm-hmm. So it's good. It's all good.
So when you were doing that, you're working as a photographer still?
I was, right.
Okay. So you're retired now, or?
Well, no, I wouldn't say I'm retired. When digital hit, I was done as a photographer.
Oh yeah.
I just didn't want to make the investment, and also the whole photography scene totally changed. I was doing a lot of architecture, mm-hmm. and then all of a sudden, everybody thinks they're an architectural photographer, and everybody uses their phones, and it just changed. They a lot of places that were my normal clients stopped hiring because my secretary can do it or
right.
whatever.
Right.
So I went on and got certified as a teacher because I've always liked teaching. So I did some adjunct at Endicott College and some other places, and became a high school teacher. So right now I'm a substitute teacher at Beverly High School, which is kind of fun. I have 2 master's degrees, so they won't give me a job because they'd be at the top of the pay scale.
So you have art, and what else?
When I was getting my master's, when I was getting my teaching credentials, I had so many credits that said, "Hey, we'll give you an MBA too." I said,
really?
I thought, well, that'll even make me more marketable. So it turns out having 2 master's degrees means nothing except that I'm at the top of the pay scale.
I think that makes you less marketable.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, because I have several degrees as well, and I had some trouble with that.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. So, and I have to say, for all those teachers out there, teaching is not for the faint of heart. Kids are very different because of many factors. Kids, it's not easy managing a classroom these days.
Yeah, my son is in 4th grade, so his teacher, I think, is great. But think about what they're having to deal with now.
Oh.
I imagine there's not a lot of substitute gigs for online learning.
No, there isn't. So, it's fine. Plus I do the open mic. Fortunately, my wife is still working, so we're fine.
Yeah.
But
what does your wife do?
She's been in kind of the healthcare thing for most of her career. Mm-hmm. She went to Harvard and has an MBA and all that stuff. And I said, well, how smart can you be? You married me. How smart is that? So she's still involved in that whole scene. Kind of as a consultant analyst.
Okay.
Yeah. So and that stuff is very relevant right now.
Yeah, it's very important right now.
Yeah.
If we're ever going to get out of this. But, all right, well, enough of that. Let's have a song.
Okay, so...
let's have a happy song that we can... Well, it doesn't have to be happy, but it...
Well...
How about upbeat?
It'll be fun. So,
okay.
Again, I told you I got rid of all my vintage instruments. I have nothing that's vintage. So this is my Martin CEO7, which is a 00 body style. So in the 1930s, Gibson, they were trying to make a marketable guitar to the masses. So they made their L series, which is a small body guitar. So Martin finally, after all these years, came out with a small body Martin, and I love it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love the small body. Anyway, so there's this song called Lemmy. Purple slips, purple ships, let me take you for a ride. Mother goose on the loose, let me take you for a ride, all right. Mother goose on the loose, let me take you for a ride. Dolly's barking, oh, and Noah's Ark, at least throw me a bone. Walking down crowded street, staring as you go by. The tears are running down your cheek, hanging from your eye. Redhead, a country fair, a Ferris wheel's going round and round. Popcorn in a popcorn machine, let me take you for a ride. Last time, thank you.
So that was original?
Yes, that's... The song used to be called Let Me Take You for a Ride, but if you say it fast enough, it comes out to Lemmy, 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 Lemmy. So I just changed it to Lemmy.
Yeah, because there's a heavy metal musician named Lemmy.
Oh, yeah.
Could be about him. So,
but again, you can hear my blues background.
Yeah.
And some jazz chords in there.
Yeah, it's pretty clear that you like blues in your style. Which is great.
And finger picking.
Yeah. So what did you do for teaching? You did high school, but did you ever do like your own classes or just
only for a short time?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, I could be teaching anything at high school. The only side effect that I'll just tell you quickly, my son, who's 24, when he was in elementary and middle school, I used to coach everything. Not because I was a good coach. It was because I wanted to make sure that every kid got to play.
Right.
So that's why I coached. So now, all these years later, I knew lots of kids. All these years later, they're starting to come in the open mic because some of them have learned how to play an instrument.
Nice.
And they come in the Indo Pub in Beverly. They go, "Oh, it's Bob!" And some of them, have become, okay. Some of them haven't, but that's another story.
Don't tell them.
But it's kind of fun, then. So now kids his age that I coached and had on teams and knew really well, they come in and excuse me, and it's a blast for me. I hope it is for them that I get to see them again. But that's just kind of a side thing that I'm really enjoying.
So, you got another song you want to do?
I will do another song. This is not mine. This is from the 1920s. For you guitar people, the song is all one chord. I capo up high so I can get kind of a real trebly effect. I've actually wanted to teach something about songwriting and the fact that there are so many songs that are just one chord. But this is by Julius Daniels in the 20s. I first heard this song by Hatuna called 99 Year Blues. Hand me my pistol, 3 round balls, gonna shoot everybody. I don't like it at all, like it all, like it all. Daddy was a bad man, I'm a bad man too. Reason I'm bad ain't got nothing to do. Nothing to do, nothing to do, alright. That's kind of a short version of it.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Thank you, thank you.
So that was from the 20s?
1927.
Yeah, and who wrote it?
Julius Daniels. Again, Hatuna's done it. A lot of people have done 99 Year Blues. And again, kind of one of the fun things for me, of course, is working up your own arrangement.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't play it particularly like anybody. I just take pieces. We borrow pieces.
Yes.
People.
Well, there's nothing new under the sun, I don't think.
And again, this would be an example of Piedmont blues because it's more finger picking.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I actually lived in Virginia, southwestern Virginia for a while, and near the Piedmont area in North Carolina. So.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Which Piedmont is the blues Piedmont, though? I don't think that's where they're talking about.
Well,
isn't it like New Orleans area? Or?
No. Well, Piedmont is kind of East Coast, Southeast, Southern East, where the Delta is more kind of a middle Mississippi-ish kind of. And then in the 50s, they all started moving north, Chicago and New York. And thanks to the suburb kids up in the north who all of a sudden discovered Mississippi John Hurt and Howlin' Wolf and all these people. Of course, the Rolling Stones. You know the famous story with the Rolling Stones.
What's that?
They were in a recording studio in Chicago, and who was the janitor? Howlin' Wolf.
Oh, really?
Oh, I'm sorry. Muddy Waters was the janitor, and they knew who Muddy Waters was, and they said, "We don't record unless he records." So the Rolling Stones, in effect, saved Muddy Waters' career, and there was a whole revival of all those guys, especially Mississippi John Hurt. Yeah,
I mean, I remember getting into it in the '80s. Blues was really big for a while. They had like late night blues shows and stuff. And, Robert Cray was just starting. Oh, and he's fantastic. Great. And I like Taj Mahal as well.
I finally got to see him at the Cabot. I can't believe it's taken me all these years to see him live.
I actually saw a bunch of blues at the Cabot. There's John Tavius Willis, young blues guy. He's fantastic. And Keb Mo.
Keb Mo, absolutely.
I went to his concert there this year.
I remember hearing his first album when it came out, and he was a session player in California who, made himself into this whole new person, and he's great. He was touring with Taj for a while. He's great.
Yeah, and blues is really so transcendent of area. It seems like every area of the nation seems to love the blues anyway. Like it's not localized anymore to just one area. Plus, it really influenced country, and I noticed that from that documentary.
Yes, and I've read a lot of books. Doc Watson and a lot of the history of Delta and Piedmont blues and stuff. It's fascinating. Mm-hmm. And what people didn't realize or haven't thought about is those players down in the South in the 40s and 50s, when they would play all those shanties, they had to play whatever's popular.
Right.
So if Gershwin was popular, they had to learn Gershwin tunes too. They just didn't play a particular style. They had to play whatever was when radio and the jukebox were becoming prevalent. They had to play the songs that were out at that time.
Right.
Of course, you don't think of someone like Mississippi John Hurt during Gershwin, but
Yeah, they could. I remember in the 80s, I went to Coco Taylor.
Coco Taylor, from Chicago.
Great. And she, I actually went up to her after I was pretty young. And, I said, "Oh, I love your stuff." And she had these big bodyguard-looking people right with her. And as soon as, this little white guy in a suit walked up to her, the guys all stood up and made a show. And she goes like this. She goes, "Come on, dude." She said, don't worry about that. So I talked to her, and very nice lady.
So I'll tell you one quick story. When I lived in Chicago, I was a doorman at the Kingston Mines on Fullerton Street. Mm-hmm. And this guy in a beret kept coming up to the door. "I want to play with Chicago Slim." I said, "You can't. You can't just get." So I wouldn't let him in. And he came to the door again, and Chicago Slim recognized him and said, "Chuck Berry, get up here." I wouldn't let Chuck Berry into the Kingston Mines. And it was something I'll never forget because Chuck Berry basically got on stage, sat on an amp, and just played along with Chicago Slim. He wasn't the show. He just kind of played along. It was a wonderful thing I'll never forget.
I mean, he played. He died recently, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. But until then, I think he was playing the whole time. Like he was doing a show every week at his club, and that's impressive.
Yeah, well, I'm certainly the star of my bathroom, but
well, if I had a club, maybe I'd be the star there. I have the hearing room, but that's a group thing.
Yeah, I have to come up here more for some of the open mics.
Yeah, well, they're fun.
Maybe get involved in some of the programs.
Yeah, well, we're looking for volunteers as well as members. So
you can count me in
if you ever want to come and volunteer. You can be a door person if you want. I was the door person for Guy Davis. And I got to scan people's tickets with my phone. It was great.
Yeah, he's great too. I'm sorry I missed that. I wasn't available that night.
Yeah, definitely worth hearing.
Oh, absolutely.
And really nice guy. And he just, the concert was great because he just kept going.
Yeah.
Like he was probably playing 3 hours.
Wow.
He took a break in the middle, but
that's great.
He was going straight through. He was really funny. And a good storyteller.
That's the whole thing that I'm realizing. If you're going to play solo, it's not necessarily how many songs you play; it's the stories.
Well, I saw Colin Hay. He's the lead guy for Men at Work in the '80s. So he quit Men at Work, but while he was doing Men at Work, I mean, they had so many hits. And he was like making all kinds of impact in terms of critical acclaim as well.
Yeah.
But now he's solo, and he started a new career basically in the 2000s sometime, I think. And he's fantastic. And part of the reason is he told stories the whole time. He was not playing as much as talking. And really, there were interesting stories, though. And half of them had to do with Ringo Starr, because he got to meet Ringo Starr and play with him, and that's his childhood hero. Because he was, influenced by the Beatles, and to get to be friends with Ringo Starr is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I had a friend, and his name was Beatle Jeff, and he was friends with the original with Pete Best, the original Beatles drummer.
Oh yeah.
So when Pete would come over with his show, he would stay at Beatle Jeff's house. So I helped organize a benefit, and my son had a 5th grade teacher that turned him on to the Beatles in 5th grade.
Wow.
And to this day, he still enjoys the Beatles. So there was a kind of a pre-dinner thing. So my son showed up in his Beatles T-shirt and has a picture with Pete Best, which to him was, fantastic. So that was kind of a fun thing to get involved with.
Yeah, well, there's only 2 Beatles left, so.
Yeah. But Paul is proven to be really a charitable person.
Yeah, and musically, he's still huge.
Oh,
his concerts always sell out. It's just he's a legend. It's Paul McCartney.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's a lot of good music around here that even at the smaller venues. I mean, where do you have? You have the Cabot in Beverly.
The Cabot and the Larkham.
Yeah.
Although the Larkham has a lot of other things too. There's comedy and all kinds of things. But it's pretty incredible that the Cabot is right down the street from me.
Yeah.
And just saw Mavis Staples at the Cabot.
She's amazing.
Yeah, to talk about a show that went through the history of R&B. That was a great show.
And she dated Bob Dylan.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. She talked about it. I think there was
Really?
an interview with her. Yeah.
Really?
She was dating Bob Dylan at one point when she was young.
Wow. And of course, I love Pop Staples, and his solo album is really terrific too. Yeah, Ry Cooder and all those guys. Anyway, yeah.
Well, let's hear another song.
Well, should I do an original or a cover song?
Well, let's do an original. By the way, are you? What's your website?
I'll have to give that to you. It's a little complicated.
Okay. What about your albums? Where can people get them?
Well, I haven't released my solo to iTunes yet because I'm still deciding on the songs. So that they can actually purchase them from me at shows or just contact me. The new Bob Kramer CD, which just came out, is on iTunes and all that stuff.
Is the Bob Kramer stuff that's also originals?
My solo is a lot of originals. The Bob Kramer band only has 2 originals.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little different. I haven't done the song in a while. Hope I remember how to play it. So I was in New York, down by the Bowery, and had this whole fantasy of a brothel on the river, and so this song is called Waterfront. My mama told me shouldn't go down waterfront. My daddy told me shouldn't go down waterfront by the edge of town. But I went down edge of town, music there. Down, I fell with red all around. Oh, mama. My baby told me shouldn't go down waterfront by the edge of town. Waterfront. Thank you.
So we're getting toward the end here. And I always ask the same thing at the end of the show, which is, what advice do you give other people who are trying to be in the music business in whatever way, like based on your experience? Like, how do you do what you do, and how could you transfer that to other people?
You know, even when my trio play, even when I play out solo, I do songs I have to have a connection with. You know, I mean, some people are so good at doing any kind of, cover songs. I'm not a wonderful singer. I'm okay. So I also have that limitation. Mm-hmm. But the only thing I can say is do songs that mean something. Mm-hmm. You know, don't do songs just because you're expected to, or because everybody else does it. But again, if you have to know the audience you're playing to, mm-hmm. Otherwise you won't get hired back. but you can still play to whatever audience you want and still do songs that have meaning to you. And go see live music. You know, if you see someone you like, talk to them. Gee, the last song, Waterfront, was in drop D tuning. If you don't know what drop D tuning is, it's a wonderful, quick tuning.
Right.
Maybe they'll show you something. You never know. But I learned so much from just seeing people play and perform. Maybe you'll hear an arrangement that, oh, wow, I never thought about that. There's so much on YouTube, too, as well. But going to see someone live is really, that's the best learning.
Right. It's interesting. When I saw someone live, I saw Ozzy Osbourne.
Wow.
And I saw him do something that I didn't expect. I'm a song leader, so I sing with people usually in a Jewish camp setting or something like that. Right. He was leading just like a song leader at his concert. So he was like, everybody repeat after me, and the whole thing, and he was trying to like get everybody to sing the song. And it's amazing when you don't expect it, you learn something from these live performances. And who would have thought that I would make that connection and see Ozzy Osbourne being a song leader? It was amazing. So.
Oh, yeah. So what I do is if I want to do a song, of course now with the technology and all that stuff, so I go on YouTube and I type in the song, and then I see who has performed it. And sometimes you'll see, oh, who's that person? And you go, oh, wow, that's a wonderful arrangement. So sometimes that's where I get ideas. I remember the first time hearing Jackson Browne in the slide player. I said, who is that guy? So, David Lindley, if you've never heard of David Lindley's solo records, they're so much fun because he's into reggae.
Right.
And he does all these wonderful songs. So, again, if you like a player on a particular album, see if you can find out if that player has released anything.
Yeah.
I've discovered lots of people just by, checking out who's playing with who.
Yeah, for a while I was doing that with a lot of bands. Especially started with the Beatles, where you get all the Beatles solo stuff.
Right.
And then I did it with Pink Floyd, and, David Gilmour, Roger Waters, they each have their own stuff out. I think the keyboard player, Richard Wright, I think, he had like one thing. But, it's amazing. You can hear all these new and exciting things from an individual who is part of a band as well. Right.
Yeah. There's also a show. I don't know if you've ever seen the Bluegrass Underground on public television.
I don't think so.
It takes place in a cave in Kentucky. That's why it's called the Underground.
That's cool.
And I can't say I've discovered so many players and groups from watching those kind of shows. It's an offbeat show. You have to really find it.
Yeah.
It's on like at 1 in the morning, like on a Saturday night or something.
You ever listen to Mountain Stage?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. That's also another place to find that.
Yeah. Just if just check stuff out. All those people from the 40s and 50s and 60s who may have forgotten about.
They're there somewhere.
They are there, and some great songs that are still looking to be performed.
All right, you got one more?
Well, I could play something on the mandolin if you want, or I could play something on the guitar.
Well, you haven't used the mandolin. You might as well.
I hope it's in tune.
Well, me too. I think we all hope that.
I won't do all the verses. I'll just do a short kind of thing.
Okay. Is this an original as well?
No, it's not. So I have a couple favorite mandolin players, and of course Sam Bush and David Grisman. I am not a bluegrass mandolin player. That's the only kind of band I've never been in is bluegrass.
Well, see, you got to come to the Hearing Room Bluegrass
I
night
will
then.
have to.
Yeah.
Lady in a turban, cocaine trees, dance so rhythmically, crying and singing, and have a good time. Cocaine tree look fine. Put on your sailing shoes. Put on your sailing shoes. Everyone will clap and cheer. Put on your sailing. Jedediah, he got a dime. Catch more fish each time. You got a line, and you got a pole. I'll meet you at the fishing hole. All right, put on your sailing shoes. Put on your sailing shoes. Everyone will clap and cheer. Put on your sailing. Doctor, doctor, I feel so bad. Worst I ever had. Had you this misery a very long time. What if lay on the line? Put on your sailing shoes. Put on your sailing shoes. Everyone will clap and cheer. Put on your sailing. Thank you so much.
So, thanks for coming, Bob. This was a lot of
pleasure.
fun. So you want to tell us a little about the website and how to get to it?
Oh, I have to.
How about this? I'll write it in the description of the show.
That'd be great.
Okay, so you can send me what you want to talk about for how to get to it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay,
And
yeah.
I'll put it in the description so
thanks.
people can.
yeah.
So
It's actually off another site, off my son's site.
okay.
So
Well, that's something. But all right. Well, it's been a lot of fun, and we will, I guess, be hearing more from you if you go over to where do you play regularly? The Beachcomber?
Oh, well, we have a show April 26th if it happens.
Okay.
Don't know. And of course, I host the open mic at the Indo Pub in Beverly on Mondays.
Okay. So everybody can come to that.
Yeah, and
What time is that?
It's 8 to 11.
Okay, so Indo open mic, Beverly.
Friendly. And I'll hang out here at the hearing room more often, too.
And the hearing room is a good place to hang out. So everybody should check out our website as well, hearingroom.net. And also check out the Greenville Junction, Junction, Shoppy, Shoppe, the Greenville Junction Shop, an upcycling shop. And I guess that's it for this show. Listen in the next time, and more music and more fun. Have a great week.
If you start with a dream and share it with some friends, the idea deepens and grows. The dream takes shape, it has form and substance, a community soon arose. A listening room, the hearing room, a place to find a home to play. A listening room, the hearing room, express yourself and have your say. The walls are thin, sirens blare, the tables sit